This scene is so good.
Yeah.
Because
there's tension, but also everybody's talking so calmly and very coolly and yes, daddy, and very like, it's okay. Like everybody's just kind of very smooth talking. And it's a very calm scene. But also we realize we're at a drug dealer's house and like this is what's happening.
They calm him down. It's like, hey, let's just kind of calm down.
Yeah.
We're going to kind of talk through this. And it's like, what we're doing is we're providing a service. And this
I love
this
that.
is a thing
He's
that's
again
happening.
very Inferno. This is a very Inferno aspect, another cantos of hell.
Holy cow, Gretchen, we're back at it.
Well, and we're in an interesting new space for people. I feel like this is going to be a different look for us right now. I know everyone's used to our cement walls that we had or the brick walls that we had before. Now we're kind of cinder blocky bricks-ish.
Tried to find the same kind of similar red bricks. It's not the same old brick walls.
Softer lighting. We're a little bit more like esoteric looking, I think.
Exactly.
Ethereal looking.
Yeah, it's a little bit of it's a different studio. So we've got ourselves a different space for now. Yeah. We'll see how everything else shakes out, trying to find nice, good, comfortable spaces that stays with our attempted aesthetic or whatever that is.
True story.
Well, welcome back, Gretchen.
Yeah, welcome back, Martin.
Yeah, so for everyone who doesn't know, this is the Check the Gate podcast where Gretchen and I watch a movie and then we talk about it, but we never know where the discussion is going to go. And today, I don't know where the discussion is going to go on this really fabulous movie that you picked, which is
Bringing Out the Dead by Martin Scorsese, 1999 drama. I would say drama, not a thriller. Yeah. But it also has thriller aspects. And like when we were talking about this film, I was saying that for me, it has these elements of like horror elements to them. Mm-hmm. I guess we'll get into that.
Yeah, absolutely. This was a great film to be able to watch with you because I watched this back in 1999 when it came out in movie theaters.
Yeah.
And I was not a filmmaker at the time. It literally feels like an entire lifetime ago and a different person of who I was. And I didn't really understand filmmaking at the time. And I think my taste was much more vanilla and digestible.
When this is not that. Like,
it is not.
Of Scorsese's films, this one to me stands out as like, it has a lot of the same vein of like Taxi Driver does as far as that way that significance that Taxi Driver had.
Yeah.
I feel like this film has those aspects. It's dynamic like that. Mm-hmm. Scorsese is never gonna disappoint as far as like his directing. But for me, this film specifically has a very like, I remember it's because I saw it in the theater in New Orleans, Louisiana when I was living there. It was like a little bit before I moved to Portland, Oregon. And this, there was such a dinginess to this that reminded me of living in New Orleans, and a lot of the way that the homelessness and like the street performers and things like that this resonated with me the way this film did. And I think this also spoke to when I was looking at my my like minoring in like film theory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is it. Yeah. I'm so excited for us to dig into this thing.
Yeah.
I can't say that I've ever heard anybody say this. I'm sure somebody has. There's not going to be anything new here, but Martin Scorsese really likes the underbelly of society. But his films are so sophisticated that I don't think anybody ever thinks of them that way.
Yeah, I mean, like Taxi Driver for sure, right? And then there's, I'm trying to think of another film of his that has this element. Is it?
Well, Casino's. I think.
But Casino is like highbrow in comparison at times.
It is, but it's when I think of underbelly, I guess I almost feel like it's behind the scenes. Mm-hmm. This is all the grody, dirty stuff that goes on that you don't get to see when rest of society gets along for whatever the businesses are and the hustle and everything that's happening going on in Casino. You're seeing all of the shit and all of the things that these folks are really doing to keep a hold of their power and their presence and their businesses. And this, and you're right, Taxi Driver is very underbelly. And maybe I'm conflating some things, but I don't know. Maybe my Venn diagram's getting big, but it's all the stuff that you don't want to see that gives you the sausage. Like, this is how the sausage is made. This is all the stuff that's going on at night when you're asleep and everybody else is having to eke out some kind of survival. Didn't he do another one like that? Like, didn't he do like a film about 24 hours in New York? Like, gosh, I want to say that was Scorsese, but I could be wrong. About and like an artist, and had Rosanna Arquette in it, and she dies in it. Do you remember that? Like, dies of a drug overdose. I want to say it's called like 24. Or I don't think that's
Last
him.
Call or something like that. That might have been Coppola. I mean, honestly, it was one of those New York style directors. But this is based off of a film or based off a book by Joe Connolly. It's about this 48-hour period of a depressed paramedic in New York who's played by Nicolas Cage brilliantly. Very few times have I seen Nicolas Cage be able to kind of like pull back a little bit. And this, to me, has those, he's somehow managed to kind of rein himself in without being like, because oftentimes I feel like anytime Nicolas Cage is in something, it is like, we're watching Nicolas Cage, and that is it. This has those elements of his personality, but he doesn't go so overboard that it doesn't feel like it's overacting, or he's like, he's just like, just going nuts, because he goes nuts, but it's like it's like a ramp up. Like, we know he's already, like, the beginning as a narration about ghosts, and again, that's another thing I thought about. This made like a horror element to it, because it's like it's almost like a ghost story. It's got a supernatural. We're watching the haunting of himself, like his mind haunting him, and his ghosts and his personal ghosts that he's carrying with him from various jobs in this. Yeah. You could kind of carry all sorts of metaphors into this. He's dealing with his demons. He's seeing his ghosts of the past. 100%.
He's not reconciling with, the person that he thought he was. Which is that's the genius of film and the genius of Martin Scorsese being able to make these great films. He's one of my all-time favorite filmmakers.
Is he?
Yeah, he's definitely top 5. I think he's like top 3. I would put him in top 3. And we've kind of covered some of my tops too when we did Blue Ruin last time with Jeremy Saulnier. Yeah. And I was actually talking with another director here about a week and a half ago, and they were asking me, and I had listed like a top 3, and then I was like, oh, but if I bumped it down to a top 5, Jeremy Saulnier would end up being in there, but Martin Scorsese is, I think, not number 1, but he's definitely top 3. Yeah. He does things with films that I have never. His filmmaking is prolific, for one. Obviously, so that's prolific, low-hanging fruit. Prolific, right? But he does things with films that tell these sweeping tales that I've never seen other directors do. And I know oftentimes I'm like, well, it's more about the DP or more about the writer and things like that. But he works with the same people over and over again, that they're such a cohesive team that his work and their brevity of work in general is always just immaculate and stunning storytelling. Yeah, it's amazing. And he's had a team, which that's a very common thing that I've seen across others. Another of my favorites in my top 3, Guillermo del Toro, is kind of the same. When he was slugging it out with a variety of people in Mexico, and then came to the States and started works with a lot of the same people, and they've all just progressed over time in their abilities, and they'll go out and do other projects, but there is a core that's always doing things, and there's something to be said about that, and being able to deliver these magnificent stories consistently, because Agreed. I mean, you really talked about how prolific he is, and a lot of people, I don't think, realize how many documentaries Scorsese does in between his narrative films. Didn't he also direct The Last Temptation of Christ? He did. I love that film. Yeah. Maybe we'll do an episode on that one. That's a beautiful film. Just gorgeous. And again,
different tone, and he's able to create such like these micro I want to say like microcosmos. That sounds so dumb, but like he creates these.
It's a microcosm. You're right.
He creates these like beautiful scenarios. I mean, and not always like the beautiful subject, but like just again like sweeping tales, and you get taken in by the story and the gorgeousness of like using the sets, and his stuff always feels tangible and accessible.
Yeah.
It's not so. A lot of times we like to talk about films that are like fantastical or whatnot, like we did when we did The Company of Wolves. That film is not very tangible. It's a fantasy. This is a fantasy, but it's also feels real, and we know this person. We have this friend who is depressed or an alcoholic or a taxi driver, a paramedic, you know.
A great film that's a Scorsese one that I think kind of steps away from some of this stuff, but is still Scorsese, is Hugo.
That is very fantastical.
Yeah,
that's the one about the little boy who gets.
Yeah, he lives in the train station.
Yeah. I forgot that was a Scorsese film.
That's a Scorsese film, and I love that film. I really adore it, and there's a beautiful whimsy to that whole film that is just delightful, and it's a real nod to filmmaking as well.
Right.
Because we've got Ben Kingsley in there as the filmmaker who did it was like Voyage to the Moon, but he had kind of been retired and was hiding out, and it was because of Hugo and his little antics in the train station that they end up getting to see him again, and it's a brilliant performances. Is
that Elijah Wood?
No, it's not Elijah Wood.
Who's that kid?
I don't remember who that kid is off the top of my head. I didn't research that one for this, but Hugo is definitely a film that's worth a rewatch.
God, from Bringing Out the Dead to talking about Hugo.
Right.
This is us, though.
And that's the magic of Scorsese, to be able to be. He is one of those filmmakers, which is why he's one of my favorite, is that he truly loves cinema.
Yes.
I don't know what his business acumen is. I think he came in at a time as a filmmaker where he could, I don't know what his connections are. I've honestly never researched his background to know what kind of, I hate to say this in business terms, leverage he had to put himself into a position to be able to have money to make those first films and get going. But clearly he has a love of film, and he talks about film all the time and the importance of film, the importance of being good filmmakers and good storytellers too.
Agreed.
He is a massive inspiration to me on how I direct now in trying to find my own voice and what works, but just he made some demarcations like in the ground for me where it's like, this is what this really means. And I'm like, I agree with that. And now I need to stick with that, you know? And so his love of film is just so magical, and it's in every project.
It's obvious how much he loves Hollywood. He loves New York. He loves film, and isn't he part of that restoration programs that are trying to protect older films and keep them alive, and getting them reshot or refilmed, isn't it? Where they're reshot onto a more different celluloid, or putting them digitally.
Yeah, where they transfer them over, and they're trying to do film preservation and all of those.
Isn't he part of that restoration project? I think I remember him
probably
talking on one of those, like before the movie played. He says, talking. I love Scorsese's voice, by the way. He's like this tiny, cute little old guy.
It's so good. Yeah.
I don't know if he's like a jerk.
Even when he was young in Taxi Driver.
I know. He still has that like cute, like I love that he also takes a role in a lot of his films too. He does in this one too. Specifically, he's the voice of the dispatch. Guy.
Throughout it. Didn't you say Queen Latifah's the other one that's in there? She's a dispatcher. Nice. Well, I'll tell you what. Do you want to kind of lay down a little bit? I guess you did, actually. You talked a little bit about it, but do you want to kind of set the stage of the film a little bit before we take off into whatever rabbit trails we take off on?
Well, I mean, I think for me, that opening shot is what grabbed me immediately. So there's this, it's almost frenetic shot of the the streets of New York from the perspective of the cab, and then that song BT from Van Morrison is playing.
Yeah.
And it is just like has this slow kind of sensual, but like the shot is less of that. So it's such a like almost dichotomous like look to one another, that you have like this song by Van Morrison playing, and then like the streets of New York, and then it starts to slow down, and you can see like the people, and then the narration cuts in where he's talking about the streets of New York, and the he talks about like, he kind of goes into a not a rant, but just a narration of how the underbelly of the city comes out at night, and it just kind of flows so beautifully with this with the music. I mean, for me, there's lots of moments where the score, I'm always attracted to the scores in movies. It's something that stands out for me as a music person. I will immediately feel, I'm easily drawn into movies with music, like when the music hits just right. And I feel like this was masterful in a lot of ways, like they're from scene to scene. I mean, we had that section where they're going really fast, and then the frequency Kenneth from REM starts playing, which is such a random song, but it fits so perfectly. And I wouldn't say that I was even an REM fan, honestly, but yeah, that fits. It would be, we find out that Nicolas Cage's character is depressed, that he's an alcoholic. He has his partner is John Goodman in this part.
John Goodman in there, yeah. Who's
good.
always great.
Right, everything. I feel like 1999 was such a good time for films of this ilk.
Yeah.
Right? Like, 'cause this is Blade, this is Strange Days, this is, a lot of these films at this time just hit right. It had that feeling of, I want to say, like, we were so dystopic almost, because we were not sure what the new millennium was going to bring, and like what was going to change. And I feel like this is one of those films that has that, we're standing on that teetering edge, and then to tip over into the new millennium and what that's going to be like. But like, this feels old New York, but also when we're starting to become more New York, whatever, the new millennium. But on top of that, we're also talking about a street drug that is running rampant on the streets of New York called Red Death at the time. And Red Death is taking out a lot of the homeless population, as well as like the gang culture. And that's where our story kind of begins, is he's talking about this darkness that is consuming people, and how he's just basically putting Band-Aids on things.
Yeah, I think that's probably the biggest takeaway of all of this, is that I feel like Nicolas Cage is witnessing the victimhood of so many people that are not recognized by society.
Yeah.
And his job is basically to kind of scoop them up and put them somewhere, so that when it's daylight, not everybody has to see it. And he's starting to recognize that is his job. His job is not necessarily to heal people or be part of a system that's trying to make things better. It's really about cleanup.
Yeah. And I mean, unfortunately, that's kind of, I'm sure, the role at that time, especially with like the way our drugs were going at the time. Little did they know where they're going to be at right now.
I was going to say, is it any different right now?
I mean, I feel like this was a little better, like the people were a little better shape than they are currently, unfortunately. But also to that, he talks about being haunted, and he talks about there was a young girl named Rose who has a asthma attack and collapses, and he is not able to get the tube down her throat. We later find out that like he keeps trying to intubate her, and the intubation tube keeps going into her stomach, and he's just trying over and over and over and over again. And then John Goodman's character takes over trying to and ends up tubing her, but they weren't able to save her. But her death was so senseless to him and could have been prevented. He feels like he could have prevented if he had been more sober, more awake, more rested, more of all the things that we all go through when we have these kinds of regrets. I feel like this is where this is what the narration is talking about at the beginning, or kind of beginning-ish. But Rose's ghost haunts him in multiple ways. And throughout the movie, we're experiencing this haunting by seeing her face in every dark facet of the streets. Like we see her in like prostitutes. We see her in homeless kids. We see her in like gang kids. We see her in like club people. It's that's, to me, I think one of the reasons why I felt like this has such horror elements and why I was so drawn in by this story. Because I like a good ghost story. What can I say?
It is a great ghost story. In watching him go through an attempt at figuring out what is going to make this better.
Yeah.
I feel that where we meet up with him, he has stopped believing that there is redemption in what he does. We're catching him after that fact, and it's like, okay, if there's no redemption, then there's self-medication.
Right.
There is getting out of this completely. He tries to be fired over and over and over again,
Bless
or
his
saying
heart.
he's gonna quit.
They won't let him quit, and they won't fire him.
We'll
Bless
fire
his
you
heart.
tomorrow, but today
He's
I
like,
need
"But
you out there with
please."
Tom. Yeah.
When he puts him
Or
with
Marcus.
Tom.
Yeah. Tom and Marcus
Tom
both.
and Marcus
Oh God.
both. So I feel like I keep saying I feel like, but these are my interpretations of this film. This is almost a Dante's Inferno journey into hell.
That's an excellent perspective.
The reason why I say that is because each partner that he works with brings a different element to it. John Goodman's character is a little bit more like he's trying to promote. He's trying to better his life. He wants to become a captain. He's taking his captain's test. He wants to better himself.
Yeah.
Tom Sizemore is the devil. I mean, he is the devil.
He likes the adrenaline
He
and the
is the
thrill of this. He's
junkie.
like, give me the gunshots. Give me
the
blood
gore,
stuff.
the blood, the murder.
Yeah.
He is there for the mayhem, and that's why I'm like, he has a very dead, like a devil, like a demonic aspect to him. But
that was perfectly said. He is there for the mayhem. That is exactly it.
Oh yeah. And then Ving Rhames' Marcus
he's there
hope.
for the salvation.
And he's hope.
Yeah.
And
is he hope?
he is, because he wants people to believe that they can do better. I mean, like when the instance when he does
through
like
salvation. I mean, I feel like he's a preacher. He's
Yeah.
like kind of evangelical with all of this.
But
you would
isn't
be
that
better if you
hopeful?
found the Lord. Well, it's not pragmatic hope.
No, but none of these characters are pragmatic.
Okay, that's a fair point. That's true.
I mean, they're all broken in one way or another.
Yeah.
But I think with Marcus, like the scene when the club kids overdoses on Red Death, Marcus is having him administer Narcan back when Narcan was an injected medication as opposed to like snorted now, like when we can just spray it up your nose. He's like, this takes a few minutes. And so he gathers the kids, make them all hold hands. And he's like, pray with Jesus, pray together.
And these are like goth kids, super like intense goth kids of the 90s.
They're like, what is it? I be banging.
That was his name. Wait, what's his real name? It's Roger. No, I be banging.
No, he had like a Roderick. He had like a ridiculous name, and he was like, Roderick, I be banging. Yeah. Pray with me now, Lord Jesus, bring I be banging back to us. And then the kid wakes up.
He is. He's having a revival right there in the goth club.
That was fantastic. And his relationship with the dispatcher, Love, which is played by Queen Latifah, is such a fun, light discourse versus the all darkness that we see. Because again, like he feels like a bit of salvation, a bit of light in the dark, like a hope. Whereas we're seeing mostly like with like Tom Sizemore's character, Tom, he is so dark. And I mean, like,
he wants the mayhem. And I think you are correct in Marcus being that of hope, because I do think he considers himself to be the tip of the spear of something that is, while righteous, that is still something that's corrective.
Exactly.
And Tom does not want to correct the streets. He wants to live in that mayhem.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure
he's thriving in it.
Oh gosh, right? I mean, he knows, like, we get to meet kind of a cast of characters. Like Patricia Arquette plays one of the first calls that John Goodman and Nicolas Cage's characters have to take on is they get a heart attack call, and they go in to this house, and unfortunately this father has passed, and so they're trying to resuscitate him, and unfortunately for the father, they resuscitate him, but it's not real life. It's an electronic. It's a signal that at the end of his existence,
his organs are still working.
His brain is dead,
that's it.
And I mean, he's got non-responsive pupils. He's pretty much a vegetable, but the family wanted him to continue. And Patricia Arquette plays the daughter in this scenario, and she's we kind of get wind that she's a recovering junkie, or is a junkie, maybe like hasn't done it in a while or whatnot. Right. I feel like she was in recovery, right? But
yeah, she had said that it had been a long time that she had gone through all of that, because, you know, one of the aspects that we see is that while she is her apartment's actually like clean, it's in order, she's got a good life. So for whatever she had been through,
dinner.
Yeah, at the time, they had been having family dinner. But that's interesting you would say that, because the father has had this cardiac arrest. It's taken them a while to get there. So, you know, he's, for the most part, he's brain dead. But they're keeping things alive. That's the family request. But as it unravels, Patricia Arquette is talking about how there was not a good relationship, that there had been these fights and then these arguments, all these issues, especially with her growing up. So she wants her father to be alive so she can go back and have the relationship with her father that she's never had before. Right. Now that he's essentially dead, but she doesn't want to accept that. She wants to go back and have the things that she never had, and she's trying to find that. She's desperate to hold on to that.
And in that, like, the dad kind of haunts them.
Yeah, well, and haunts Nicolas Cage for sure. For Frank, because Frank continues to kind of check in on the father, because he wants to relay messages back to Patricia Arquette, because he finds her interesting. He would like to have something maybe possibly happen with her. Yeah. So he's kind of become this conduit back and forth. And as we watch, I guess, sort of the breakdown of Frank, he begins to believe that the father is communicating with him.
Right. He sees... But I think that also on top of that, he sees the past, his past, like, patients.
Right.
In the sense of, he knows that keeping this man alive is not a kindness.
Right. It's a selfish act on their part. And clearly some part of this guy, either his brain or his body, are like, this is just done. We're done here.
And he's angry. I mean, and whenever they have to continue to shock him, it takes longer and longer to bring him back. Like, what did he say?
He coded 14 times in like 24 hours.
Yeah. And so that is interpreted in Nicolas Cage's mind as an angry, like, kind of an angry, like, exchange. He's like, why are you doing this to me, Frank? Just let me go, Frank. You know,
yeah,
and you're like,
he's clearly trying to exit 14 times.
Yeah. I mean, grief is hard, and loss is hard.
What is grief if not love persisting?
Right. Oh, yeah, true. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's hard. And I see that in Patricia Arquette again, with her wanting to have the relationship with her father that she never had. The regret that's in there now. So it's interesting to watch all of that unfold. It's interesting with Nicolas Cage on all of this because I can't necessarily say that there's a transformation in him. There is redemption. He does find redemption. He's able to eventually let Rose go, and part of that is in what he does with the father, which we can get into.
Yeah.
There's a lot of me that really feels like he's the delivery system for all of this stuff, which we're seeing it through his eyes. There's no direct plot-driven aspect of this story.
No.
We're really along for the ride with Frank, and so Frank is our conduit. He's our delivery system for all of this world, and he also then becomes kind of the Rosetta Stone for it, as his own emotional situations
he's
are
Dante.
He
is Dante in this, because we're seeing his journey, and the cast of I feel like each level of people that he meets and we come across is another cantos of hell, or a representative of it, like Mark Anthony's character Noel, meeting that poor tragic person who has a rare genetic disorder that on top of the fact that he's homeless and probably crazy,
mental health issues,
and
yep.
He also has like a rare disorder where if he drinks too much water, it can kill him, which I thought was a really fascinating, because again, that would be, if you think about it, that's a very Dante's Inferno style of existence, because if you're in hell, what do you want?
He constantly desires water. Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, that's a version of someone's hell, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. It did not dawn on me that way at the time through that lens, but you're absolutely right.
I might really like Dante's Inferno. I might have several copies of it in different ways and forms.
I have never read Dante's Inferno.
Really?
Nope, I never have.
I think it behooves you to try it.
Absolutely.
It's a very lyrical story. I mean, it's a poem. It's an epic or a comedy, a divine comedy. But this is there are comedic elements in this, like the rabidness of Tom Sizemore's character, the overwhelming love of Ving Rhames' character Marcus. These are almost like beat for beat in ways like the Divine Comedy of Dante's Inferno.
Wow. Yep.
Yeah.
That's always one of those things that it's always been out there.
Yeah.
I've just assumed I would get to it, and I never have, so I will have to get to it.
Yeah, I would recommend listening to it in audiobook, because it would be it's a little bit more interesting to have somebody reading it to you.
Yeah.
It has a really good format to it. Like there's a few that do some really good voice acting. But that aside.
Do you have a good voice actor that you know of who's done it?
I think, my favorite is the FM Einheit from Einstürzen die Neubauten. I probably just butchered that. Einstürzen die Neubauten. But it's called Radio Inferno, and it was put on in the 90s.
I love it.
And it's basically a radio broadcast from hell, and so we're hearing it in multiple languages and different instrumental kind of cacophony happening in the background. It's really bizarre, but kind of worth it. I think you can find it on like most like Spotify and stuff like that.
Oh, now. I'll have to do that one too. I do think I should read it, but I should also listen to it.
Yeah.
Because that would be a lot of fun.
I like the idea of it being a radio broadcast from hell, and this is we're listening to Dante's journey.
That seems just so cool.
How
amazing would that be to do that? Oh.
Yeah. But again, also, I like that what each character kind of represents. So we meet Noel, and we kind of realize there's that Patricia Arquette's character knows of Noel being in their neighborhood, and again, like these people are kind of interconnected, and then we have the Tom Sizemore's character beating the crap out of Noel because Noel escapes the hospital. Escapes because he was tied down to his bed.
Yeah.
And he escapes and is running rampant through the city. And they keep kind of coming across him in multiple ways. Like it's almost, I almost hate to say this, but he's almost like kind of like a Greek chorus kind of, because he kind of heralds them into each like scenario. We see Noel in the background, like the gangbangers that have a shootout. That was one of the calls that he takes with Tom, is that there's a gang shootout, and it's obviously a drug shootout because we see like the Red Death vials on the ground, and then somebody scoops them up, carries them out.
Yep, they take off with the vials that don't get broken, so they're gonna go sell them somewhere.
Yeah. I love this movie.
Yeah, it's really
but
good.
I always say, I feel like every episode I watch back and I'm like, yeah, I say I love this. And I don't ever talk about something I hate.
Yeah.
I mean, the only time I've ever had like a negative was like promising young woman. But that was not even, but I didn't watch that. I watched it because it was beautiful, but it was, it was upsetting. Film, again, art is up to interpretation, right?
Yeah.
And mine, always with this, is going to be the Dante's journey into the Inferno.
Yeah. I love my Scorsese.
Yeah.
I love my Scorsese. I actually don't have a film of his where I'm just like, that one just didn't land.
Yeah.
I've never had a film like that with him ever.
Coppola all the time for me. But I think I'm just not a Coppola. Like, I love some of Coppola's films, but Scorsese seems to be 100% like every time.
Absolutely. I
liked Bram Stoker's Dracula.
That
was Coppola.
So I love, and this is a shout out for some folks because I was just talking to somebody about this. So Bram Stoker's Dracula, Francis Ford Coppola.
Love that movie.
The art, so the production designer of that film, I worked with him on his final film.
Oh.
He had gotten off of being a production designer for Crimson Peak with Guillermo del Toro and the production designer for Star Trek Beyond. And he was just tired. He had been at it for a long time. And he just, talk about like high school degree and just dragged himself up through a lot of just bad decisions in his youth to become this production artist and then production designer. He was working on Hook. The writer of Hook knew Coppola, said, hey, I want to introduce you to Coppola. I think you'd go over good on this film that he's looking to do. So he takes Tom over there and says, hey, Tom, this is Frank. They meet, and Francis Ford Coppola is like, you're my guy. You're going to be my production designer for this, and does all the production design, like all the armor, all the background, like all of that production design is Tom Sanders. And so Tom works on films for, decades for that, but he gets off of Crimson Peak and Star Trek Beyond. He's in his third marriage. He's got a 4-year-old kid with his new wife, and he's just like, I'm going to go find a place to settle down. Buys a house in Portland, and just decides, I'm going to hang out and retire. And people are still pitching him films, and he's getting all sorts of stuff. And Peter Jackson pitched The Mortal Engines.
Oh.
Which is a young adult series that they had been in development hell with that thing. And so Tom decided to take that film because he wanted to see how Weta Studios makes all of their practical studio stuff.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm going to see how they do it because I'm going to build a new studio here in Portland to do all our build outs and design and everything. I'm going to move all my friends here to Portland, and we're going to do that. And we're going to service LA. We're going to service Vancouver, BC. We're going to be able to do all those things, and we're going to make all it. So he was looking for someone, and a person said, you need to hire that guy. So I got hired on as the production design assistant to Tom.
Wow.
And we were designing the Mortal Engines. So a lot of the stuff, there's the city of Salt Hook. I was one of the designers for the city of Salt Hook. There is an airship in there that's called the Jenny, and I designed the Jenny. I designed it actually after the Glamorous Glennis, the first aircraft to break the sound barrier, the X-1 that Chuck Yeager flew. And then there's an air city that's in there. Anyway, I got to do all of this stuff with this guy that was part of Bram Stoker's Dracula, and it was this monumental time for me. And the deal was that we were everything was gonna move to New Zealand for the film. So I packaged up everything to him and sent him ahead, and he got to New Zealand, and a couple weeks later he was diagnosed with cancer. And
Jesus.
he had to drop the film, and he moved back to the States, and he died a couple weeks later.
That's terrible.
Yeah, and so all of that kind of just disappeared. They had to bring in another production designer, and they replaced the whole team because everyone had been with Tom. So Tom's team was replaced, and the film happened. Almost all of the production design that we had created made it through there. That person executed most all of our design work that was in there, which was great. But yeah, that was.
Did they credit you?
I did not get credit on that. Nope. I am on IMDb as uncredited in there, so I'm not in the film run. Yep, but you can see me on IMDb. No, it happens. I'm a non-union person when it comes to that kind of stuff. And, everything ran through Tom. I mean, if I had been doing things that Tom didn't approve of or like, it would have never seen the light of day. So, all of that went through him. So, anyway, he was a fantastic guy, and he designed all of that beautiful look of Bram Stoker's Dracula. And I'm not a fan of that film. But it is the most gorgeous film. So Gary
Well, we don't want to get too far off of Scorsese.
We can, but that is our thing. We don't know where it's going to go. We'll pull it back into Scorsese, but we're talking about folks, here and people who were auteurs. They're kind of doing things their own way, and Scorsese's done things the way he's wanted to and made a good career and made great films. Coppola's done the same thing, but he's been a lot more hit and miss in mine. But no, so Bram Stoker's Dracula is a beautiful film. It is gorgeous.
Yeah, the Japanese designer who did all the fashion for it.
Oh, my
her
God.
armor designs were...
That's with Tom.
And she passed away too.
Tom was developing and designing a lot of that stuff with her.
She's amazing. She did The Cell as well.
Yep. Oh, yeah. The Cell is something. I wonder if she did The Fall.
She did.
I have not seen The Fall, and The Fall is a film that I have wanted to have for our list. Okay, well then I know where that one's showing up.
Yeah.
Gary Oldman is magnificent in that film. Magnificent. And I love Winona Ryder. It's not her best performance, but I have a special place in my heart for Winona Ryder. I'll watch her do whatever. I think she's just a glorious person. I really love her. Keanu Reeves is a good guy, and he's been great. He is not good in that film. And they put him in that film. The studio did. The studio said, we will not give you money unless Keanu Reeves is in this film. And so Coppola took him, didn't want him. And I don't think it was anything personal. It was that I think Coppola had a different view, but he wanted to get his film made. And that's what it took. And Keanu's wonderful. He's a wonderful human being. People love to work with him. He is just the best person ever to work with. I hope I get to work with him someday. But he just wasn't right. He just wasn't there. And so I didn't care for it. And kind of the troop of people with him, they're just not very good. I don't think their performances are very good. You have this really lush, wonderful, astounding universe with these this performance by Gary Oldman that is just
transcendent.
It's transcendent. It's magnificent. And I think when you put Bill and Ted against that performance, it's tough.
Yeah.
And that's not against Keanu Reeves. Lovely, good person. It just wasn't right, and it doesn't land. And it's very noticeable to me. So it's still a film I revisit. Anyway, we can go back to Scorsese.
Well, when you're talking about the technical aspects of filmmaking, there's actually one thing that really stands out in this film. Well, many things that stand out in this film. One of them specifically that was one of my favorites was there's an effect that happens about midway through where we kind of see what happened to Rose, where she collapses in the snow, but it plays backwards. So back then, this is 1999 era filmmaking, so we're still digitally kind of some things not. But what Scorsese did in this that made it very, again, I want to say like a tangibleness to it is that, and what makes this very ghostly is that he made her walk backwards and shot it and then ran ran it forward. And so this has such a ghostly effect. Do you remember the scene?
Yeah, absolutely.
And where she's collapsing in the snow and she's like walking weirdly and it's very staggered. That was so breathtaking. I remember when I saw that in the theater, I was like, how, this is like Twin Peaks. Like this has that same, but better. I love Twin Peaks, but this was better. And the lighting and the way this was shot was so smart and made it otherworldly and again made it ghostly, which again, like I talk about how I love a good horror film or a good ghost story. This makes it a very haunting scene enough that it stays with me. 25 years later,
right?
You know.
Yeah, and it does. It gives it a very well. To me, it gives it. There's a little bit of the supernatural in it, but it makes it play out like this is how it would play out in your memory.
Yes,
you are playing something over and over again. You're going forward and backwards with it over and over again because it's the thing you're beating yourself up with this whole time.
Right.
So you're playing it in multiple directions over and over again, and probably even changing the story sometimes because you got to hit yourself even harder. But
of course,
that's what I love about it is that it doesn't feel like we went back in time and watched the scene play out. We watched the scene play out in his head, and that's what that filming style does for me. Is I feel like we're in his brain going through it.
Watching this haunting. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's other characters that are interesting and fun in this, like the drug dealer who is played by
Cy. Yeah.
Cy. Who is he played by? That is. He's in The Whale Rider. So when I first saw this, I was like, is this the uncle from The Whale Rider? Like, or something like that. He's one of the...
That dude's in so many things. He's
so
great.
Much.
Like,
he's like
just
is he a
solid
character
every
actor,
time.
I suppose? Yeah. Because he's never like a main character, but he's just like he always plays like a background character. He was so fun in this as the drug dealer Cy that Patricia Arquette goes to visit this drug dealer because she just can't deal with all what's going on with her dad, and
she hasn't slept in days.
And so Nicolas Cage is like, I'll take you, and because he's kind of sweet on her, and he takes her to this apartment, and it's such a... It looks like a velvet painting, right?
Yeah.
Like it has a fish tank and the shag carpeting and the walls are red and like, it's
an
oasis.
They call it the oasis.
Yes.
It's a very clean, well-kept opium den.
Yes. Yes. And then like super hot girl who's like sitting on the couch, like giving like petting heads and so I'm like, man alive.
Yeah.
I'd be okay with putting my head in her lap and let her stroke my hair. I love that shit.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was gorgeous.
Gorgeous. And again, like I said, that whole scene looks like a velvet painting. I got a sweet spot for that kind of stuff. That kind of kitsch.
And this scene is so good.
Yeah.
Because
there's tension, but also everybody's talking so calmly and very coolly and yes, daddy, and very like, it's okay. Like everybody's just kind of very smooth talking, and it's a very calm scene. But also, we realize we're at a drug dealer's house, and like this is what's happening.
Well, it's calm for a little while because in setting the scene here, Nicolas Cage has taken Patricia Arquette there. I don't think he fully understands what's going on there.
I don't think he fully understands half of what's going on.
Right, and so he takes her there, but he drops her off. She goes inside on her own. He goes to leave, can't bring himself to do it, goes back, bangs on the door, goes in there, and he's kind of in a big huff, and he's rather aggressive. And they calm him down. It's like, hey, let's just kind of calm down.
Yeah.
We're gonna kind of talk through this. And it's like, what we're doing is we're providing a service, and this is
I love
this
that.
is a thing
He's
that's
again
happening.
very inferno. This is a very inferno aspect, another cantos of hell. Like this feels like we're looking at what is it the there's a lake of blood and people are boiling in it. This has those aspects to it, not in the sense of like that it's horrific, but we're looking at like this temptation, this drop. It's a very Island of the Lotus Eaters. It's all of that.
Nice.
Yeah.
And with Sai, he's a very charismatic person who is delivering relief.
Right.
And he eventually talks Nicolas Cage into taking something to relax him.
Yeah.
It's just get some sleep. This is self-care. This is medicine. You just need to sleep, and this is going to help you sleep.
Right.
And for a very brief moment, Nicolas Cage gets to kind of pass out and sleep. And
But
as
then-
soon as he does,
oh boy.
Rose is back.
Woo.
And it's Rose up to 11.
Right.
And when he comes out of that,
He's flailing.
yeah, he's got
screaming.
exactly. His body is now having the opposite reaction. Instead of getting the relief and the relaxation and the sleep that it had wanted, he's a wreck.
Right.
And realizes that he needs to just get out of there now. And so he goes and grabs Patricia, scoops her up, and he staggers out of there trying to get her out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they, kind of get back out onto the street out of there. And she's not very happy about it because she was sleeping. She wanted her relief. But it was just, I thought this was so emblematic of how he has been as a character so far, because the thing that's supposed to give him relief doesn't give him relief. He can't let go of Rose no matter what. Even the stuff that should be chemically inducing him into a better state doesn't work.
That's the haunting of
Yeah.
it. It is
inescapable. Yeah.
It's his remorse and his guilt will haunt him forever.
Yeah. And he has been self-medicating with booze, so it's as if he is at this place now where self-medication cannot help. Even to take this step up and take these drugs, it is an inescapable reality. He cannot escape his brain.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
It's so great. But we get to come back around to Sai's place afterwards because we get to talk about Red Death a little bit there when he first goes there.
Right, because he was saying that he was like, I don't deal in that shit. Why would I kill my customers?
Right. Yeah.
He's like, I perform a service, not a destruction.
Right.
And so, which makes him the kind of charismatic like villain that we all love.
Yeah, he does differentiate himself as that. I think he honestly believes he is catering to a particular clientele and has a service, because they're even overseeing everyone there. I mean, it's almost kind of like some people that are taking their psilocybin trips and they've got a Sherpa. They've got a guide with them on it.
There you go.
These folks are all being tended to. The place is clean. There's a lovely little saltwater fish tank and everything. So he believes his own hype about being that. And whereas the Red Death dealers, they're going for the quick shot. They don't care what the outcome is. They're making their quick money, thinking that's going to be their salvation. They're just going to get rich quick and get out.
Well, then there's the destruction of that den.
Yeah, that comes back around to it.
Which is wild.
Yeah. Well, Sai had mentioned in there that there were things in motion that were going to be taking care of those punks that are dealing out the Red Death. And what ends up happening is they hit Sai first.
Yeah.
Or they hit him in retaliation. I was a little bit fuzzy on that, but it seemed like it was either in retaliation or a first strike, knowing that Sai was going to do something. Yeah. Whoa,
what a spectacular scene where
Gretchen.
he like jumps out of the building and he gets impaled on a fence and Nicholas has to save him and cut him off of this fence.
But that's,
and there's such a spectacular moment where Sai is on drugs.
Oh,
and he's
so good.
on the side of the fence.
Yeah.
The railing below.
It's on the railing below, the
and
floor
they're
below,
cutting the railing, and there's all these sparks flying, and he's like, "This is so beautiful."
Yeah,
and it's just
he thinks it's fireworks going off for him.
Of like golden, like starlight. It's gorgeous.
It's great.
Again, one of those like Scorsese beautiful moments of thinking. I love that.
It's so good, but it also is the horror of it too, because these guys thought their way out was, we're going to make a run for it, hit our balcony, jump. We're going to go to the balcony down below. His henchman who is there makes it down there, but breaks both of his legs and then falls through the window. So now he's sliced himself up, broken legs, and he like drags himself across the broken glass into the room. He's bleeding out on the floor below. But Cy thought that he was going to be okay because he wasn't the 350-pound henchman.
Yeah.
And instead, he ends up tripping and backflops into the spiked railing of the deck below.
You know.
Oh, man. And he's just, but he's just so pragmatic about it.
Yeah. What I like about this, one of the many things I like about this film is that it doesn't just like, there's no hero's journey, but there's a journey that we get to experience, but there is no like, this is the end result and all is okay. It's not that. Yeah. It's never that. And I think that's what one of the things that makes this such a brilliant film is it feels, again, when talk about tangibleness, this is one of those master strokes in filmmaking that make this film feel like something you can watch over and over and over again, because it isn't just tidy. Nothing is tidy about this at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
An interesting thing about with Cy, but then also we have got the pregnant mother that we get to, and I think that's after Cy, if I remember right, the pregnant woman and her virgin husband.
Oh yeah, they were such a side character. I didn't really think about
that. That was a side one, but there was an interesting.
That was another one of those like redemption moments of like.
Yeah, that was a side quest, but there was an interesting thing about it, and I had kind of noted it in my head, but I had kind of let it go on a couple of them. Almost all of the calls are cardiac arrest calls. Not all of them, but most of them are. And then there's a point in time when they're in that building and they're trying to find this person. They're like, why are there so many of these are cardiac arrest? Why isn't it this other stuff? Like pointing it out. And I was wondering why, as a storytelling device, that had been a choice to say that so many of these, because the only cardiac arrest that they ever had was the very first call with Patricia Arquette's father. And then everything else after that was a cardiac arrest. When they get there, it's actually something else.
Maybe that's the only way to get them to come out.
Maybe if someone thinks that it's a gang shooting, they're just going to be like, well, we're not going to hurry ourselves for that one. Oh, we got a guy impaled on a spike on a balcony. We're not in a hurry. But cardiac arrest. They were flying every time. Yeah. So it was interesting, because then they noted that it's like, why are these always cardiac arrests? But then we get there and we have this woman who is having she's pregnant, and
twins.
she's twins, and she's having babies. Yeah,
and one of them is in distress.
Yes, that was a breech birth.
Yeah.
One of them survives in there. It's amazing. I noted this.
But notice it was Ving Rhames' character who gets to have the live happy baby.
Yes.
And
Nicolas Cage gets the one
baby
that dies. Yeah.
Oh, that was brutal.
And that's right. That is Marcus. So that's before they get to Cy for that, because Cy is when Tom has taken over, because Marcus has wrecked the rig and Marcus is on break.
Right.
So we're with Marcus before the accident. And that's when, so I was noting this too when we were watching it. So they're in this building. The building has no electricity to it.
They've got a descent into hell.
And it's kind of an ascent. They're going up the stairs, but it's like the descent into hell. They're going to the next level, and they get there and there's just candlelight and then their flashlights are there. But they carry, when they do this shot, so they go to move this woman. They're trying to get her to the ambulance. They don't make it. She ends up giving birth downstairs. But that is two actors. I don't know if it's really Ving Rhames and Nicolas Cage or not, but it is really two actors with a third actor in a blanket
that they're carrying like a
in
cot.
the dark, that they are carrying like a cot. They are
Yeah.
carrying this person down these rainy, leaked on stairs.
Weird
and
carved out steps.
Right.
Like,
And
it
you
was
can
such
see
a
them.
cavernous.
It's such a great shot. And I mean, you're calling it out as Dante's Inferno is kind of perfect and like an ascension, descension.
Yeah.
But as they're going through there, and I'm kind of looking at them like, is that? And like, nah, they must have just like dead weight. And then they hit like the light shining through there, and you can see the person like move in the blanket while they're doing it and shifting, trying to take a corner. I'm like, oh, they're really hauling a person right there. This is practical Scorsese shots. Like we're not faking this.
He doesn't have to things.
Yeah. It was.
He's like, all right, so I want you guys to like carry you're gonna each take it into the blanket, and everybody's gonna carry her up the stairs. All right, all right.
And he probably said it just like that.
Yeah.
It was amazing. Yeah.
I love the way he talks.
I do too.
I love like a good New York accent. I mean, like
Yeah.
that kind of fun like New York accent.
He did a master class years ago. It's the only master class I've ever paid for, and I still have my account that has that in there, and I revisit it every time. And even if I'm not learning something from it, I just love to listen to him talk about movies, and I do. I love his accent. I love just the rhythm of how he speaks. It's
That's
so
so
good.
fun.
I wish I could meet Scorsese. If anybody knows a way to make that happen, that would be great.
Yeah.
Oh, this is such a great film. But I always say that, but we do choose this. We don't have like a random movie generator. We're really
No, we
pulling
don't
things.
do garbage films
Yeah.
generally. We're like, we try to do stuff that we love and that is thoughtful and artistic and without being too art house, exuber that Uncle Boon Me one.
That was, and Boon Me was an experiment.
Definitely.
And if we both watch The Fall, that will be a little bit of an experiment too, because
that is a little
we've
art
never
house
seen
for
it.
our audience.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Ranveer Singh is very much an art.
A metaphor guy.
He's a metaphor guy. He's very artistic. He very much has a vision. So I'm interested in ever going back and watching The Cell, because I remember The Cell not being a very good movie, but beautiful to look at.
I like that movie.
It was gorgeous. Well, that's just what I
know
remember.
it's kind of silly. The premise is kind of silly. And I feel like if it had been done now, there are things that would have been accomplished a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
But some performances that we got out of that were really great. Like Vincent D'Onofrio
D'Onofrio's amazing. Yeah.
Terrifying.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
horrible. But wow.
But again, for me, that is at a time when I was in my popcorn phase. I loved my movies, and I was an encyclopedia of movies, but I was an encyclopedia of popcorn movies. And that's not a popcorn movie, nor is he a popcorn director. He kind of went on and did some stuff. I would say I've never seen The Immortals or Snow White, but I think both of those were meant to be like popcorn movies.
Which Snow White?
He did a Snow White movie with Julia Roberts.
Did he do Mirror, Mirror?
Is that what it's called? It might be called Mirror, Mirror. I don't remember. It was one of those.
That's also the same Japanese costume designer. She also did the dresses for Mirror, Mirror.
Oh, I don't doubt that. Yeah.
How weird.
Yeah.
Wow, it's it's almost like they all work together. They all know
I
each
know.
other.
That was early 2000s. I've never seen those two films. When I saw trailers for The Immortals, I looked at that and was like, man, that just looks super cheesy.
That is that kind of like a Greek mythology type
Yeah,
thing.
I think it came out around the time that 3000 was being made. So I think
Or
it was like
300.
or 300. Yeah,
Yeah.
3000. Yeah, 300.
So in that same vein.
Yeah, I
that
think the
kind of-
studios were trying to compete, and they were trying to get somebody because, at that time, that was a very stylized, very purposeful, envision film done by Snyder. And I think that the studios were like, who can we bring in who is a very stylized, visionary director to create something for us that can compete against that Ranveer Singh?
Right.
And I think that's why that movie was probably made. I don't know. It's just me talking with my mouth open. I'm the white mediocre dude talking about films on a podcast.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But I guess we're at that wrapping up point of this. Is that where we're
Sure.
at? this movie was perfect, I think, for its era. I would hate to see this movie redone because I think that it spoke to the time of which it was when it was made. And I'm not sure when the book was written, but the screenplay adaptation done by Paul Schrader, is that who it is? Schrader.
Yeah.
He's one of Scorsese's guys. He does a lot of
he did Taxi Driver.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. So I feel like this film spoke to the time of which it was done, and I would hate to see it remade.
Yeah.
I don't think it would.
I don't. Yeah. So this is one of those wonderful things. Having not read Dante's Inferno, I didn't make the connection on it. You having read it and knowing your films as you do, you're able to point this out. I need to become better at my literature and reading more. I don't think I've read enough classical literature to then be able to see these connections, because that's the beauty of a film like this. I would never want anything like this to be remade, and there's no reason to. This is a film that stands alone and is great. What I love is the fact that somebody was able to take Dante's Inferno and reinterpret that and imagine it in a different place. I love the fact that Cyrano de Bergerac can be reimagined and placed into Roxanne by Steve Martin. I love those kind of ideas of somebody getting the heart and the spirit of this thing and putting it into their version.
That's like Apocalypse Now is like Heart of Darkness, you know, like that kind of thing. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. But I don't know if that was the writer's intent. I've not read this book, but I will take a look at it for sure, because I feel like this is worth going back and reading now that I've seen this movie a couple of times. It's funny, this is not like a feel-good movie, so clearly I don't watch it like multiple times a year, but it is so worth it every time, and I love being trapped in this frenetic universe of this descent of this poor ambulance driver who is so depressed and so downtrodden.
Yeah.
It's such a fascinating universe to be in, or microcosm of sorts.
It is. It's great. You can feel the escalation and de-escalation throughout his life in how this film unravels itself.
And it's just another 48 hours, and he just continues on this cycle like he's in hell.
Yeah. I promise I'll fire you tomorrow. Cool. Well, Gretchen, this was a fantastic pick. You continue to do better than me because
I do not do better.
I am paying for the sins of Boone Me.
I had to bring it up. It was so brutal. That was so brutal for both of us. We were just like, "Yep, this is hell." Actually.
By season 5 of this show, I'm hoping that you will finally forgive me.
What are we watching? The still shot of them and they step out of their bodies. I'm so confused. We're in a karaoke joint. I don't know. Thailand.
Well, that's okay. I'm going to make up for it on the next episode.
Yeah. What are we watching next, Martin?
We are watching Blade Runner.
So good.
So good. I have the opportunity. I'll be watching Blade Runner in 35 millimeter at the Hollywood Theater in Portland, Oregon. It is the final cut that came out in 2007. There was a director's cut that came out prior to that. But this is Ridley Scott's, what he calls the final cut. I've never seen it before on the big screen. I am overjoyed to watch this thing in 35 millimeter.
Yeah.
And so we're going to be talking about that, and I'm really excited about it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, everybody, thank you for joining us for this descent into madness.
Absolutely, yeah. Thank you all so very much for checking out this episode. If you don't know, we have ourselves a brand new Instagram page, so you can go and check that out if you search for Check the Gate Podcast. And thanks to Gretchen for having made that and populated that. It's been great. It's nice to have that standalone place now.
Yeah, it's also a good place to interact with us if you're interested in talking to us about films or whatnot. That's a good way to reach out, as well as like we have a website. We also have our own YouTube channel now.
We do. We have our own YouTube channel now. And so if you've noticed, we don't have a Patreon. We're not asking for money.
Nope.
We are creating and doing this because we love to do it. I love to make. I love to talk about films, and I love Gretchen and hanging out and talking about films. So that's what this is. This is all about our love of cinema and our love of talking about cinema. So if you really want to support support us, aside from having either downloaded the episode or watching it on YouTube, feel free to share this out anytime you can. Whenever we have something, if you can share it out, that would be great.
Yeah.
Because that's how we get the next folks to check us out.
And like and subscribe, please.
Yes.
And listen to us on audio format. I mean, that has little commercials in it, but our video doesn't have any commercials yet. Well, whatever YouTube
It's
puts
true.
in there.
YouTube has no commercials on there. Yeah. So please, by all means, help support us. That would be great.
Thank you.
Yeah. So until next time and our Blade Runner episode, Gretchen, thanks so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah.